Hey my lovelies, thank you for joining me with this flip through. So the cover here is made from my scraps. I love using my scraps if you follow me, and it's known as paper cloth. So if you look up paper cloth um, or paper fabric, that sort of thing, a tutorial, you'll find that on YouTube. And I actually cut this to size. You can see it across there. It's partly a stitch stamp, and partly stitched there, just at the very beginning. It was a little too long, so I cut it down. So a little bit Frankensteinish, but it's all full of my scraps. So it's hugely personal and very much me. Um, so the way I work through this journal is mostly spread by spread, but I do go back and forth sometimes and add things. My current journal that I work in is very much very holistic, very every page I could work on in the one go. So I've put this little I think it's a little cotton bag that I just splashed with watercolor, stuck it on there. This is a fake car that came with a deck, and I grunged it up. My entire book is painted with traditional gouache and watercolors. I do not use acrylic. I don't gesso my pages. Um, yeah, so that writing, so that you got, I'm just showing you on the cover, in the inside cover, some metallic traditional gouache. I've made these clusters. I started to make them for the 100-day project, but I gave in because I realised I did not want 100 of these clusters. I tend to like to make things as I go. This is just a bit of junk cardboard that I can't. No, actually, I don't even think I cut it down. It was sort of that shape. This first page here, very painterly. I was coming from my painty other journal. So it's like that, and you can just see I've just stitched in this little piece of paper, and I just love sometimes just the colour and texture, and you don't have to feel like you have to overlay everything, collage everything, and layer up everything. If you love something as it is, then enjoy it. So this page I came back to, you can see this brighter watercoloured edition. It was originally just gouache and it just felt too flat, so I added that flower. This page here shows the intention of this junk journal, the original intention, which was a sort of junky journal where I was going to write a lot in and just stick anything crazy in it. So you can see this sort of very eclectic page, and it just didn't turn out that way. I did love that flower there, but other than that, I wasn't that keen on it. It turned out much more arty. This is a letter to myself. Dear Autumn, be a little more selfish. Love always, Autumn. It was part of a challenge. So I did a few challenge or tagged pages on this one. And that's just a simple leaf, and just like the colour of that there. Yeah, I realise I love this colour. I love these little pink flowers. I've just got some tissue, some jelly plate tissue paper on that blue. I really like it. Assume that every tag in here has journaling on the back, basically. I actually love this back page here. It's some old antique poetry and just that squishy pink. It's really lovely. Just another cluster that I made there, and this floating tuck area, really. So very, very pink journal. Yeah, this is the other page that I didn't like. I think I ripped something out of it, put something else on top. It was that original intention. Bit of vellum, always love a bit of vellum. I did journal on this. There's a little bit of watercolour that I was just, some colours I was testing together. And a little embellishment, it's a paper clip tag there. Just throw some scraps together, a little bit of stitching, and I love the vellum, and what you see peeking through is always lovely, and the sound of it, which you can't hear at the moment because it's a voiceover, but yeah. And this is a little bit of scrappy piece of cardboard and scraps, and a little bit of fabric that I had left over from a journal made. A little bit of stitching. I absolutely adored this page. I only just put these water paper pinks swatches over just a few days ago because I just love this page so much. There's just this squishy, yummy, creamy pinks on there. And yeah, this one's actually got journaled on. This was part of a challenge as well, and I made this card and with some stamps and grunched it up and made this little see-through stitchy circle pocket to go in. So yeah, I'm very happy just to leave a page. I can't say blank because it's jelly printed or painted or whatever, but if I just really, really love it, I would enjoy that page for as long as it takes until I feel that the page wants something else. I'm very happy to leave it. It's about following the joy. You know, the joy is just looking at what would normally be considered a background. I think that's a really wonderful thing to give ourselves permission to do, rather than feel we have to layer and layer and layer. This is part of another challenge, I think, with Laura Mixed Media. And my favourite thing of this page is actually this little envelope. And although I really, really enjoyed doing her hair and colouring her face. This was just a junk vellum envelope, and always nice to see things through. And this was just scraps, bit of paper that just gave me a place to journal. So I think I was partially successful in this journal in that I did do plenty of writing in the end. Um, so yeah, I think it was fine. Oh gosh, I love this page so much, and I loved it for a long time. The greens and turquoise without anything, and then I added the stitching, which allowed me to do a little bit more grungy painting on the top. Really liked how this floral botanical came out. This one, as I'm looking at it, just feels like it needs something else. I may even go back to it, although nothing's ever finished. I never say anything's finished. I'm finished with the journal, but there's nothing wrong with going back if I feel like it. This was very interesting. Trying to stitch two bits of vellum together was awkward, um, but a very interesting stitch. I really liked it. I'll definitely do that stitch again. Here is piece of that I ripped off what is called a masterboard sometimes. I just really liked the abstractness of this, and another little paper clip, little embellishment there, splash of blue. This was another page that I had left for a long time, and it's mostly gouache, but those brown sort of dots are actually tissue paper. There's a lot of tissue paper, not lots, but there's tissue paper layers here and there, and there's little marks there. Underneath the tag on the pocket, that's also tissue paper. And I just love how it sits on top of everything. It just almost melts into pages. So I do love my tissue paper layers. I just stuck some random bit of thread on there. This is actually my very favourite page. Again, it's all gouache, a little bit of possibly white charcoal, and very much like my abstract painterly pages, which is probably why I just like it so much. But then there was just this feeling of wanting to put something else, and it was quite spontaneous. This scrappy bit of paper, tissue paper, piece of cloth, and then stitched it and just glued it on. And I love it, and I love this collection of pinks from my palettes. Also love this super simple page, but it's also probably my second favorite page on here. I just wanted to cover it. It was a book page. There was a lot on there that I didn't want, so I just covered it with that tissue paper, jelly printed tissue paper, and then I took that Payne's Grey from the one that I used and used it again with the circles. Very textured, this page, lots of bits just glued on crazy and random and drip paint down there, but my absolute favourite bit is that little tiny piece of scrappy pink with stitches on it. So this spread, or 2 pages, was just this. I can't even remember how it happened, but that green was not my intention. That page was not my intention, and I could have just cut it over, but I decided to go with it. I love being pushed with colour, and I was enticed to sort of bring those colours over to the right, and make this little floral and some stitches. This was a gorgeous blue and Indian yellow jelly print that I just loved, and I had to include it in here at the end. The green inspired me, or made me think of ginkgo leaves. This little pocket holds a photo of my scrapped diary and my little memory there of Get Messy, putting me on their channel. So lovely to remember, and a little bit of tissue paper again stuck on the end there. Lots of yumminess. As you can see, it's not a very big chunky journal. As much as I love chunky journals, I end up getting a little bit antsy and want to move on to something else. So I know that thinner journals better serve my creativity. I put in them when I want, and then I get to make another journal, which is always great and fun. Thank you. Any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Bye.